I wouldn't say that I ever really developed a strategy. I just never really considered myself different from the men and many of the boardrooms and the meetings that I took. I mean, by and large, very often, I'm the only woman seated at the table on an issue that I'm dealing with, whether it's a corporate issue, whether it's a crisis communications issue. It's still a man's world in the business world. And so I really have just always walked into a room with confidence and held my own, but never wanted to be really differentiated as a female in a room full of men. And I think that they respect that. Probably the biggest compliment I think that a female can pay me is that I'm a role model to them, that I'm rather fearless in what I attempt to accomplish. And whether that's been in the entrepreneurial field and starting my own business. I ran for mayor 3.5 years ago, which was a big step outside of my comfort zone. But I think most folks felt like I was doing it for the right reasons because I've grown up in this city, I'm very passionate about the city, and I really wanted an opportunity to be able to make a real difference and see a strong female leader in that role. And so I think there are many times I think particularly even young women I can't manage family and I can't have a job and I can't do it all. You can do it all, but occasionally a ball might drop, and I think the key to that is you just can't be too hard on yourself and you can't beat yourself up because you're not perfect. We're not perfect, but you can manage a family and you can have a business. It's just a little crazy, that's all. Mm-hmm. I am very civically involved. I'm a member of the Greater San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. I'm also serve on several boards. But there again, I've never been a part of solely a women's organization because in the business world, I wanted to be able to compete with my peers as men, not just as a woman, but because, like I said, I did not want there to be a differentiation. That's not to say that I'm not very supportive of women. I definitely am. Particularly when it comes to chairman of the board responsibilities, leading civic organizations, and even in politics. I've supported a lot of female politicians, and I think that females make great elected officials and politicians because innately we know how to multitask because we've had to. Particularly when you have a business and you have kids. I mean, you're just used to being able to juggle things. And I think diplomacy comes a lot easier for females than for men. So although I haven't been a part of a gender-specific organization, I'm very supportive of females. Don't ever think that there's a glass ceiling that you can't break through. Yeah, I mean, I think many times young women are taught that you're only going to go so far, particularly if you bring into the equation that you want to have a family and you want to be able to work. And, there's this perception out there that I think if you don't commit all of your time and energy to your job, that you're going to flame out or you're going to hit that glass ceiling. My advice to young women and young career women is your goal in life should be to shatter that glass ceiling. You have to draw boundaries for yourself. I could live with a guilt complex 24/7, and that is because I've got both, that I'm not doing enough for my family and spending enough time with my family, or I'm not spending enough time at the office and where work is concerned. But at a certain point, you just have to say, look, I may work 50 to 60 hours a week, and I may not have 8 hours a day to give to my kids, whereas I may not have the quantity of time with them, the quality of time that I spend with my kids is extremely valuable. And I would tell you that I give it all to my kids when I am home. I sit down and I do homework with them in the evening. I try not to take business calls when I don't have to. And I'm at all of their games. I may not be at every single practice, but I make sure that I'm there when I need to be. And I think my kids appreciate that, but they also appreciate the fact that I've got my own business. We used to have an on-site daycare at the office, and my kids really grew up at my knee underneath my desk. And so they haven't known a mom that's really been, any different. But anyway, it's a struggle and it's a challenge, but it's about setting boundaries for yourself and saying, you know what, I got to turn this switch off and I got to go because I've got another job, and it probably is, not probably, it is the most important job that you have, is being a mother to your kids. Mm-hmm. Well, it's been very, very important to our business. The digital revolution really has turned advertising and communications as we know it on its ear, because no longer do you have to spend a whole bunch of money to get your message across through mainstream media. We've got a great case study here with the pharmaceutical client that I'm talking about, Dr. Smith's, having grown that brand strictly virally and through mommy bloggers, and as a result of the social media strategy that we put behind that, the brand has been launched nationally without any paid advertising, strictly social media, which has, like I said, been a very proud moment for us, and it's been a win-win for not only us, but the company that we represent. So for our business, it's very important. We've got a social media page that we populate every day and try to keep a robust presence because people are looking at that, and we know that. So for me as a person, I try to keep a lot of my social media from a strategy standpoint business related. I do have a personal social media page that I share with family and pictures of my kids and things like that. But I also understand that social media should be used for what its purpose, and that is communicating exactly what you want to get across from a business strategy, and I think from a personal growth strategy. But I'm also of the mindset that I also don't want necessarily everybody knowing everything about my business. So I'm not posting and saying I'm going to the grocery store. What I post, I try to make relevant to people. Yeah. My advice to young women, based upon what we've seen in media, is to remember that from a social media standpoint, anything you put out there, whether it's a tweet, whether it's a posting on Facebook, or most importantly, whether it's a picture of yourself, don't put a picture of yourself in a compromising position because it lives on, as a business person, because it lives on forever, and I guarantee you it will come back to haunt you.
Okay, so as a business owner,
right,
when hiring, do you look at social media?
Absolutely,
Okay.
Yeah. We look at that very, very closely. We look at the savviness of an individual and how they know their way around social media and how they're using social media.